Welcome to the Explainer. All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're taking a tour of Cardano, but we're not just looking at code and charts. We're going to treat it like a growing digital nation, a place with its own economy, its own innovation labs, and even its own town halls. And this quote from the team at Adastack, it just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures that feeling that I think a lot of us have about Cardano, right? There's so much going on, but sometimes it feels like it's all over the place. That feeling, that sense of a vibrant world just waiting to be discovered, that's the perfect place for us to start our journey today. So, what Adastack is trying to do is be that guide. Think of it like Google Maps for this sprawling digital nation. Their whole mission is to solve that problem of discovery. Because, let's be real, for any ecosystem to actually grow, new people and even old-timers need to be able to find their way around. And that's exactly what tools like this are for. All right, so first stop on our tour, the global marketplace. Every nation needs its ports, its trade routes, right? So let's start at Cardano's borders and see how it's connecting with the wider world and making it easier for folks to get in and out. And here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. We've got two major projects making their tokens way more accessible. Minswap's MIN token, now trading on Bitrue. And this is a big one. World Mobile Token, that's WMT, is now live on Coinbase. And for a project that's all about global connectivity, a Coinbase listing isn't just news. It's like building a brand new superhighway straight into the heart of the Cardano nation, opening the door for a massive new wave of people. Okay, so we've seen how the doors are opening wider. Now, let's step inside and check out the innovation labs. This is where the magic happens, right? Where the builders are creating the tools that are going to shape the entire future of this ecosystem. So one of the most critical pieces of tech for Cardano's future is definitely Hydra. It's their big scaling solution. But here's the thing about powerful tech. It's kind of useless if developers can't easily build with it. So a developer who goes by the Macro Man put up a proposal in Project Catalyst, Cardano's community innovation fund, to do exactly that. The goal? Create better, more accessible tools for Hydra. And I love this. The plan is just so practical. It's not about reinventing the wheel. They're starting with an existing tool called Hydra Factory, and then they're just making it better, adding real-world examples, a user interface for testing, all with one simple but honestly really powerful goal: make it way easier for any developer out there to build amazing, high-performance apps on Cardano. But hey, the builders aren't just thinking about scaling, they're also looking at the bigger picture and, being honest about where there's room to grow. The team at Nucast came right out and said it. They were super blunt, admitting that when it comes to AI integration, Cardano is lagging behind other chains. But here's the really cool part. This wasn't just them complaining. It was a call to action. The Nucast team didn't just point out the problem. They immediately followed up by teasing that they are already working on something big to fix it. And that right there, that proactive, let's solve it mindset, that is exactly what you love to see in a healthy, growing ecosystem. Okay, so an ecosystem, it's not just about the tech, is it? It's about the people, it's about rewards, it's about participation, and it's about governance. So for the next stop on our tour, let's head over to the community's town hall and see what's happening there. First up, let's talk about the money, the economic engine that powers this whole community. For any digital nation to really work, its citizens have to benefit, right? Well, Strike Finance is a perfect example of this in action. They are actively and constantly sharing their success by paying out rewards directly to the folks who hold their token. And we're not talking about small change here. They just crossed a huge milestone. They've now distributed over 1 million ADA back to their community. That's how you make the idea of community ownership feel real. It becomes something you can actually see and, spend. And they're not even close to being done. They've set this incredibly ambitious goal to hit a target of 10 million ADA distributed by 2026. What that tells you is that they're in this for the long haul, committed to sharing the success in building a really sustainable economy with their community. Now, beyond just the money, you've got the civic side of things. How are decisions actually made? Participation in governance is absolutely essential for any decentralized nation. And we're seeing groups like Cardano Curia stepping up to the plate. They're positioning themselves to become what are called delegated representatives, or DREPs, with one very clear goal: to get Cardano's governance moving again, to re-energize the whole process. So, after that quick tour through the marketplace, the innovation labs, and the town hall, let's kind of pull back for a second and look at the big picture. What's the state of this digital nation? What does this all add up to? Well, what we've really just seen is a snapshot of a super dynamic ecosystem that's firing on all cylinders. You've got progress happening everywhere at once. They're making it easier for people to join. They're building better tools for the people who are already there. They're sharing the economic rewards, and they're strengthening the foundations of governance. And the cool thing is, each one of these parts is feeding into the others, creating this really powerful cycle of growth. And that brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? With all these different pieces moving at the same time, the tech, the economy, the governance, where is the next huge breakthrough going to come from? Which part of this expanding digital nation do you think will be the one to define its next chapter? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.